From what I understand from doctors, that's really rare. If it's a legitimate rape, the female body has ways to try to shut that whole thing down.
There's like the stereotype that if you dress a certain way, that you'll be blamed for what happens to you, you know? This whole idea, well, you're a slut, you weren't wearing, like, if you don't want to get raped, then don't wear a miniskirt. Like, are you kidding me? Like, it's like this idea that you actually, like, blame the victim instead of understanding what happened, like, to her.
All you really have to do is turn on your TV and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
1 in 4 young women will be the victim of rape or attempted rape before they graduate from college. College junior tells police that she was raped.
Arrest a Louisville man after they say he sexually assaulted a 21-year-old U of L student in a parking garage.
2 football players were found guilty of sexually assaulting her, okay? She ended up leaving the university. She transferred out and she went to a different university.
The 24-year-old student was sexually assaulted early this morning at an apartment complex near Cimarron Boulevard and Alvars Boulevard.
She was urged to go away, to drop the complaint and pick up with her studies.
Seeing less than 5% of young women coming forward to report sexual assault.
Many times the attackers remain on campus, continue to go to class, sometimes in the same class as the accuser, while the accuser suffers in silence. Why is that?
Many DAs essentially decline to prosecute campus rapes. Experts believe that's because the majority of these cases are either acquaintance rapes or they involve alcohol and drugs.
I've been dating a guy for 5 years since high school. We had recently broke up and his roommates were in Temple and wanted to come see me. So I was excited. I hadn't seen them in about a year and they said that they were parked outside the house, so they were like, oh, just come in the back seat, it's no big deal, like, I don't want you to freeze. So I said, okay. So I jumped into the back seat of the car and they started talking to me about life and school and what our plans were. And then they asked me about having sex with my ex-boyfriend. And they said that they only regretted not being able to have sex with me because I was with Adam and they would never try to do anything to their friend and ruin our relationship. And they were like, well, you don't really have a choice. I was like, guys, like, let's just go. And he's like, no, 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 you're gonna stay there. And he locked the door to the back seat and got out of the driver's side, went into the back seat and said that he's always wanted to have sex with me and that he would make it happen that night.
When I told my ex-boyfriend about it and I tried to explain what happened because I was afraid and I didn't want him to think or anyone to think that I wanted that to happen, he called me a liar and said that I do things like that on purpose and that I make like those things happen. And he didn't believe me. So all my friends were the only ones that believed me. The guy I was seeing didn't believe me. So it was just really hard to get over that because I had trusted them so much. I did not finish on time. I was taking a class. I failed that class and I was still in the same situation for the rest of the year. So I didn't graduate on time and I really regret it.
I think there needs to be, there has to be a better awareness and a better sense of respect towards just relationships, you know? Like, there has to be a boundary and that boundary has to be respected. I feel like a common thing to do is like, you know, when people confide in you, when people talk about it, they always ask like, well, you know, like, where were you going? Why were you there if you didn't want to be there? Like, who were you hanging out with? Have you done this before? Like, they interrogate the victim. They don't interrogate, like, the perpetrator. And, like, that's the problem.